Well, good morning. Welcome to Strength for the Day on Tuesday, week 12. Good morning, sunshine. How are you today?
Good. The earth says hello.
Who says hello?
The earth.
The earth says hello. I won't explore that with you, but I'm glad for you. Hey, we're looking at the fruit of the Spirit through the lens of Proverbs. We're at the last fruit today. We'll review things tomorrow, and come Thursday we'll be on a new topic. So looking forward to that change, but grateful for what we've learned through this study and look at the book of Proverbs. This is interesting. We've particularly been looking at the fruit of the Spirit with the understanding that there's a reason this matters. And yesterday I was struck by the parallel between the fruit of the Spirit and the Beatitudes. And Jesus says, blessed, 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 blessed are. And then he gives the reason for this after teaching on the book of Proverbs. He talks about the reality that we do this so our light will shine before man. And our responsibility is to exhibit the kind of fruit that just is a testament to the work God's done in our lives and brings glory to Him. So, Reverend Pastor Donna Drisner, share some stuff with us about self-control from the book of Proverbs.
Yes, we are on self-control. And I looked at it up, tried to find the actual word self-control in the Proverbs, and that's a little trickier. I'm do with all the different translations, but it certainly comes up with attributes of self-control, what it's supposed to look like, and that's kind of what we're talking about. We're talking about fruit of the Spirit in everyday life. So we all understand what self-control is. But I found it kind of interesting that I found these 3 verses, and it kind of talks about 3 different ways in which self-control plays itself out in our lives. So first I found Proverbs 25:28, and it talks about a city whose walls are broken down. And the first thing that came to my mind is when we are not walking in self-control, say there's anger, say there's other issues in our life, we literally are breaking down these walls of defense that are around our lives with control when it comes into place. So we are breaking these walls down and allowing all kinds of things to then become part of into our life. In other words, so you are angry, whatever, so you stomp around. So all of a sudden you've allowed all different kinds of offenses to come back in. You're easily offended. Your relationships with people begin to fray a bit.
Our lack of self-control creates an opening for people to attack us and the enemy to attack us.
Exactly. So you're just breaking down these walls of defense that God has placed in our lives, and self-control is one where there is this wall of defense around us, wall of protection. Another one I found was Proverbs 25:16, and it talks about self-control in the area of health. When we are not in control of the way we eat, the way we live, our health can be affected. And it talks about too much honey.
You're getting to meddling here.
Too much honey is not good for you. Too much honey. John spoke at a pastor's thing, and they rewarded him with honey.
It was a leadership retreat
at
Shellbrook Pentecostal Assembly. Bless you, good folks. I got lots of jars of honey.
It's actually really good honey.
It's excellent.
It's natural.
It's excellent honey.
Saskatchewan honey, and it's actually very good. But too much of anything is not good, and too much, sometimes we lack self-control. We maybe are able to control our emotions, but getting that healthy diet, getting those healthy ways of living is something that we're not so good at. So it talked about that kind of self-control. And then the third one I saw was from Proverbs 31, verses 4 and 5. And it talked, I think, in more of a leadership aspect of self-control, that when we are practicing self-control, we are actually an example to others, about the way we live. It talks about just forgetting our responsibilities. And so self-control helps us to be that example we need to be to others. And we all are leaders in some aspect, whether it just be, in a church setting, or whether it be in your family, whether it be to your children. But we all have someone who is looking up to us. And so our example of self-control is evident, kind of reflects our relationships with others, and it is an example to them. So kind of saw it in three ways, the self-control, living it out through the Proverbs.
And the unique part of this to me is the fruit of the Spirit is self-control. And there's a tension here, almost an oxymoron going on here. Self-control, but the only way you have self-control is a result of the Spirit bringing it into your life. The fruit of the Spirit comes into your life and brings you self-control. So
it's not something we can naturally are all good at.
Well, it's a work of the Spirit, and when the Spirit is at work, there's this self-control that develops, but you can't drum it up. I'm going to be under control today. I'm going to be under control. I'm going to be under. You can't. It doesn't work like that. It's this connection to the Spirit. So, fruit of the Spirit. When people observe your life and they're tasting the fruit, love, peace. I taste self-control here. It's part of the fruit. There should be this wonderful flavor of self-control in our lives. So, hey, thanks for joining us today. We're going to pray and ask God to just give you a good day. Lord, I thank you for your word. Mm-hmm. I thank you for the work your Spirit wants to do in our lives. You want to help us live your love out today. You want this to be a day in spite of the circumstances. This is not about happiness. This is about your joy. You bring joy. And you also bring self-control. Father, these are difficult times, testing times, so much unique stress going on. I pray, Lord, that the stress wouldn't rule in our hearts today, but the self-control of your Spirit would rule and reign as we interact with our children, as we interact with those we work with, as we chat on phone, even as we send out Facebook messages and Instagram messages. May we exhibit the fruit of the Spirit called self-control. So we look to you today for your help. I pray your wonderful grace would rest upon everyone. In Jesus' wonderful name. Amen.
Enjoy your honey.
Have a great day. I am going to go have some honey.
Self-control
I'm going to have
sweet.
some honey on my brand muffin.
Sweet self-control.
Bye now.
Bye.